Welcome back to the Luxury Channel. What I have in today's video is going to be the 10 richest UFC fighters in the league. Before we end up getting to that, remember to drop a like on today's video as well as subscribe, and for those who do subscribe, remember to let us know down below because at the end of the month we do pick one lucky subscriber who has in fact subscribed, and you do get a shout out at the end of the month, so be sure to let us know down below. But getting in to number 10, we have Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes is an American martial artist with strong grounds in boxing and wrestling. He has been decreed the UFC welterweight champion twice and has been introduced into the UFC Hall of Fame and in the NJCAA Hall of Fame. He has got a winning streak of 6 fights now, and he holds to defend the belt consistently 7 years in a row. His nicknames are the Grace Killer. He holds an unparalleled mystery over submissions and has used it to specify a lot of things, such as winning against black belt holders who stand against him. Coming in at number 9, we have BJ Penn. Penn is a professional jiu-jitsu artist from Brazil. He has won many medals, especially gold in the World Jiu-Jitsu Championship tournaments before his career in the UFC started. Penn won the UFC Lightweight Championship in the year of which he also broke the lightweight title defense record. He was inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame and was awarded the UFC Welterweight Champion 2 years to the next 2 years in a row. He was credited as the greatest lightweight combatant in history of the UFC and is one of the greatest fighters in the world. Now coming in at number 8, we have Ronda Rousey. Rousey was the first woman in the world to win an Olympic medal in judo. Being ranked as the most active athlete in 2015 by 2 magazines that year, she was voted as the best woman athlete in the same year after a few months. She has won almost 12 MMA fights consistently in a row and is the highest paid female athlete in the bantamweight line of specialism. Coming in at number 7, we have Fedor Emelianenko. He is reputed to be the greatest heavyweight champion in the UFC. He's held a win streak of 29 fights and his finishing percentage of 82.1% win rate, which is assuredly the highest among the heavyweight champions in the UFC. He has defeated almost 11 top-ranked fighters in his career during the time played in the UFC, all of which has made him one of the top most reputable fighters in the UFC as of 2019. Coming in at number 6, we have Georges St-Pierre. This fighter has won the welterweight championship title and the interim title twice in 2016 and 2017, and is said to be the best middleweight champion of all time. He has been ranked the best fighter in the UFC by Sherdog and various other popular sport magazines. He is undoubtedly the most accomplished and dignified fighter in the UFC history and holds the second longest combined streak in the UFC. Coming in at number 5, we have Randy Couture, and his career in the UFC is mostly filled with numerous championship achievements for countless categories. He has won the UFC Heavyweight Championship 3 times and the UFC Lightweight Championship twice. The interim UFC Lightweight Championship and the UFC 13 Heavyweight Championship Tournament Championship during his career in the UFC, he won those as well. He holds a strong background in wrestling and was also a former US military army sergeant before his career in the UFC began. Coming in at number 4, we have Demetrius Johnson. He is the first and the most reputed flyweight champion of all time. In his career in the UFC, he has held the longest record for maintaining the maximum number of titles for the maximum number of years. Sherdog has ranked Johnson as the number 1 flyweight fighter of all time as of 2019. He began his career in 2011 and immediately caught on to the attention of everyone using his adverse, surprising wrestling methods to control the opponents and predict their attacks during the UFC cage matches. He holds the record for having the most number of takedowns in UFC history as well. At number 3, we have Jose Aldo. He was the first featherweight champion who continued his career even after the merger of the UFC and WEC. Unlike many, he had a win streak of 18 fights in 2015, due to which he began to be called as the greatest featherweight champion of all time. He too was ranked the first by Sherdog as the finest featherweight champion of the year in 2019. He is also currently a trading partner and the former UFC bantamweight champion of Nova União. And coming in at number 2, we have Conor McGregor. This fighter is one of the among very few who hold titles in more than one weight division. He is the UFC featherweight champion as well as the UFC lightweight champion, as a competed in countless fights in these 2 categories, along with the welterweight in his career in the UFC. He started his career in 2008 and by 2012 he has won both titles in their respective categories. In 2015, he defeated Jose Aldo within just 13 seconds of the first round. This was was and still is by far the quickest victory in the UFL. As well as he did box Floyd Mayweather, which was a pretty good fight if you do ask me. Coming in at number 1, we have Anderson Silva. Holding the longest streak in the history of the UFC, he also holds the record for holding the maximum number of titles in his career. He is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt and has won a black belt in Judo, a yellow rope and Coperia, and is also a professional boxer before he began his career in the UFC. In addition to all these, he is most popularly known for his Muay Thai style of fighting in the UFC tournaments and events. The UFC signed him in 2006 to a multi-fight contract. They soon began advertising him upon seeing his rampant success and win streaks, which is absolutely incredible. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video on the Luxury channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.